Hey, welcome to TEN. This is Tech Entrepreneurs Nebraska, brought to you by the Nebraska Tech Collaborative powered by Exarban. I'm Shauna Dorsey, the Executive Director of the NTC. I'm just laughing because the title, it starts to feel very long. So I
Mhm.
just need to record an intro. That's next step two. But anyway, I'm here without a co-host today, but special guest,
Ameshia Doll.
Ameshia Doll. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for
So
having me.
yes, thank you so much for being here. So for those who haven't listened before, this format is 10 minutes max. And we don't edit, we just record and see where the conversation goes.
All right, great.
So anyway, so glad you're here. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and include the part, which is my favorite, that you're a career changer. So yeah.
Sure. Like I said, my name is Ameshia Doll. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm kind of a Midwest girl, Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee most of my life. But my career started off as in social work. And I got to a point where I said, I don't want to do this anymore. What should I do? So I did some research about different things that was popular at the time, thought about what I used to do as a kid.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I did as a kid was computers. I did some programming. Me and my brother used to go to Saturday programming at also a North High School in
Okay.
Milwaukee.
How about that?
And that was pretty fun. And so I decided to go back to school. Originally, I started off in networking. It was not for me.
Mhm.
And so then I went to programming and I loved every minute of it. I always tell people programming is like magic. And I really loved doing it. While I was an intern, um, a, what a computer programming intern,
Mhm.
I started applying for different positions because I never was in tech before. I was like, I need practice. I'm always about the research and
Mhm.
gathering data so I know what to do next. And I happened to get uh, a response back saying, "Hey, we want you."
Uh-huh.
And the people that wanted me was here in Omaha. And I said yes. And they said yes. And I came
Yes.
here. And so that's about, I always say 10 years, but it's past 10 years now.
Mhm.
So it's like 11, 12 years ago. And while I came here as a software developer, software engineer, they're kind of interchangeable. Did that for 2.5, 3 years. And then I started doing other things, business analyst, QA. And I also was able to lead projects while I was a software developer. So I was just like, I think I want to do that.
Mhm.
And I worked my way doing different, I led different projects until I became a scrum master in like 2018. And I've
Mhm.
been a scrum master ever since.
That's outstanding. And it's cool that you started in social work and found your way into a technical role because there are some skills within social work that are probably very valuable in
Yes.
a technology role. And then going from a a pure technologist like software development into project management so that you understand how to request requirements and break down tasks and things like that that maybe someone without that previous experience
Yes, I
could
do.
do.
I do
Hmm.
find that being an asset, being a developer, I'm able to speak the same language that the other developer is speaking. Also, to translate to the stakeholder, like what you're asking at this time is unreasonable because these are human beings and they are not able to just, to turn around and do those things so fast. So I do think that it has an advantage for me. Having that background as a software developer engineer. I always say developer, but a lot of people say engineer now, so
Sure.
I don't know which one
Yeah.
it is.
I know what you mean. That's really great. Okay. So then outside of your work that you're doing in your day job, you also do some mentoring, coaching, other types of workshops. So can you talk to us about that?
Yes, I do a few different talks. One of the talks that I really am passionate about is mentoring and specifically micro mentoring. And a lot of people are not familiar with that term, but basically it's just a short span of mentoring. It's not a dedicated mentor that someone is, you got quarterly tasks that you want to do or goals you want to accomplish. It's someone who has some expertise. A mentee seeks them out and asks them a couple questions. It may last an hour, it may last a couple weeks, but it's not usually more than that.
Hmm.
I recently did a talk in regards to that. I'm a part of a Facebook group called Black Women in Tech. One of the young ladies reached out to me via Messenger, asked me a question. We were going back and forth. I asked her to call me because it was just too much. I'm not a big text person. I might screens all day, so I'd rather have a conversation. Talked for about 20 minutes, and she was in between jobs, and just that 20-minute talk help her change her mindset. She now is working for Cisco. She's doing very, very well.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started talking like December of 2022,
Mhm.
and March of 2023, she had a new job
That's great.
making six figures. And it's the
Yeah.
first time. And it's just like, that's life changing for people.
Yeah. And it's cool too, because sometimes when people think about mentoring, they think about the traditional like lifetime forever type of engagement.
Right.
And I have had situations too. And actually, I was just watching the show the other day where someone had a moment where I was like, this is exactly what Amisha talks about, where he was like, I need to seek out this person because they have this specific expertise and I can ask them how to navigate the situation. And they didn't need to have more conversations beyond that,
Right.
right? But sometimes that's really all it takes.
It is. It's all it
Mhm,
takes. And I think that when you think of mentoring that way, you're more open to do it.
mhm,
I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't have the time to dedicate to that person and I won't be fulfilling, their needs or whatever. But if you are open to doing some micro mentoring or just even peer-to-peer mentoring,
mhm.
because I do that a lot too, just peer-to-peer mentoring, it can go a long way for people.
Yep. Great. And I also like that you are so committed to helping others. So one person that you've helped is me specifically.
Have
so,
I?
so
Really? Okay.
yes, for sure. And so the Nebraska Tech Collaborative launched a Women of Color in Tech meetup group, and we don't own it. We're just helping to
Mhm.
coordinate it. But anyway, I remember when I was putting the panel together, and then also thinking about who would be a great moderator. And then I thought of you just because your communication style is very approachable, and you also can talk tech with technical folks, which is very helpful. But then the other thing I appreciated about it is afterward, you're like, hey, Shauna, so here's some thoughts about how this could be even better next time.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons we're able to have that type of open dialogue is because we've established a friendship outside of all of this
Mhm.
stuff. But anyway, relationships matter. And I
Yes.
want to know if you can talk to us about why that's important to you, why like being involved in groups like Women in Tech of the Heartland, Women of Color in Tech, all these amazing groups
I
is
just
important.
think that the community is needed.
Hmm.
We Shauna just did a talk on Tuesday and it was just wonderful. And I just want to know, I want to give her kudos because my daughter said she ate down. That's some that's some
Oh
slang, which
man,
is
I'm
so
getting so
good.
old. I don't even know what things
Yes,
mean anymore.
yes. She was like, I was like, what do you mean by that? She's like, she did good. They were asking her questions. She was like, boom, boom, boom. And they didn't have anything else to say. So I just think that the fact that my daughter was able to understand what you were talking about and it resonated with her. And then the whole group of people, we had people online and we had people in person. And the fact that you were able to express what you were talking about in the community afterwards.
Hmm.
People want women need that community and people need that community. We also had men also that were there
Hmm.
who asked questions and that were online. And I think having those type of relationships is important, especially for women of color, Black women. I could just speak for Black women. I've always been one-on-one
Hmm.
in most organizations that I've been in, and being able to have I was so thank you for asking me to be the moderator for the women of color in tech. I think that is just so important because it shows community
Hmm.
and that you're not one-on-one and there are so many other people that are there to support you and want to see you succeed.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes without seeing that it can become lonely and challenging.
Definitely. And then you just feel like you can't relate to people as well. And it's,
Yeah,
it does really matter. Representation matters
it
so
does.
much. And so I really agree with that. I had another point and I lost it.
Okay.
So let's, I'll come back to it if I remember. But one thing that we're working to do on each of these podcasts is to ask if there's anything that you would leave the tech community with or tech entrepreneurship community, any of those in Nebraska, what would that be?
I would um representation matters, leadership matters more.
Hmm.
So I really do think there need to be more um women of color, people of color in leadership positions. A lot of those positions are predominantly held by white males, and we need diversity of thought to make that technology even better because everybody doesn't think that the same way, and having that diversity I think really will help move tech forward.
Love that. And I do think that one of the ways that we can get there as Nebraskans is to definitely support diverse entrepreneurs,
Mhm,
right? As
yes.
because if they can actually start to grow companies and create more diversity within companies,
Mhm,
but also in our more traditional established companies as well. So just
yeah.
continue to work that out. I agree. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, so fun.